Meeting to order. Bucksport Infrastructure and Property Committee meeting Thursday, April 23rd, 2020. Road project discussion. We received, I believe Sue and Jay did this, that the original presentation plus one for RGP and one for rebuild on all roads. I have a few thoughts of, I'd have to hear more from him. He knows a lot more about this than I do. Does anybody have any concerns or questions for Jay before I start?
I don't.
It's fine, Ed. Nope.
Just out of curiosity, are there some roads that, this is to Jay, by the way, are there some roads that we've put down as surface that you think possibly do need the RGP? I know the rebuild on a lot of this is kind of out of the question financially because, I mean, we're looking at almost triple the cost, but are there some roads that would benefit from the RGP that we're just going to be looking at surfacing?
I believe that for the most part, everything that was identified was just to kind of catch up on the actual surfacing work that we've been lagging on the last few years. There are potentially some that we could earmark in the future for work, but I don't think that throwing a bunch of money in it is going to make a significant difference as of this year.
Okay, and is that something that we could? Because I do realize we want to take advantage of the price of, well, the barrel of oil and the price that pavement's going to cost right now. So I totally understand myself on why you want to utilize this year and get as much paving as we can.
Right.
But that we could also look at that next year, correct? If there's something that a road that's of concern that.
Definitely, yes. We can reevaluate it and maybe throw together a list of the roads that have maybe the worst identified condition as far as road base, and then we make decision from there.
May I say, the other thing that this may do is that if you put out your surfacing this year with a very advantageous pricing, this is going to, I believe, open up a considerable amount of funding that could perhaps be used in year 2 or year 3 to augment some of this additional work that you had talked about. The mill and fill is really what the downtown, I mean, that doesn't change. That is what it is. But depending on what the bid is for paving, an estimate of 1.2 million could come in under $1 million, and you'd have several $100,000 to think about using for additional work under this same umbrella of the $3 million that was initially. You would have the choice of either just spending less to do the work that was identified to the public when they voted for it, or you could do more to the roads than was identified under that same $3 million cap. So because there were so many questions about what would it cost, what might it look like, we have not put this out to bid at all, because until I was sure what you want to go out to bid, it didn't seem to make any sense.
Right.
That might be advantageous too, with the price of petroleum doing what it's been doing. And the only thing that I think that I would add to that is the roads need to be done. And so I think probably the way, at least from my perspective, to approach it is that over the course of that amount of time, if we're planning on one, to your example, Sue, if we're planning on 1.2 and it ends up coming in at 1, just to keep the numbers round, then we should look for every opportunity to take that money and where can we apply it? Because it's the roads aren't going to, I'm saying the obvious, they're not going to fix themselves. So if we have a plan to do it, I think that would leave us in a better place.
I agree with Paul, and we might as well go ahead and make a recommendation of a motion to the council to send it out for estimate.
Okay, so you want a motion to get bids on the original plan then?
Yes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
In favor.
I'm in favor.
In favor.
Okay, this recommendation would appear on your May 7th council meeting as a resolve to put this out to bid, or but there's nothing on an action item right now to do that. So it would
April 7th.
May 7th. That's
May
well.
7th.
I'm going to be asking later this evening for a special council meeting on April 30th to award the bids for the pool, which come in on the 29th, and I really don't want to wait, because the quicker we can get a contractor going on that, the better. So it's possible that if you wanted this to go out, that could also be added to the agenda for the special meeting, just to allow it to go out to bid for that time. But it's up to you. That's the next meeting, but just a heads up that under the pool stuff, that will be a request.
Okay. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to say, I don't have any opposition to having that go out early or on the 29th. I'm trying to think of do it sooner rather than later. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm forgetting, and I can't think of anything that would make it that a bad idea.
I would agree for this next meeting.
Yep.
Just one more question for Jay. Jog my memory, Jay. Did you mention that when doing some of this surfacing, we were gonna, I don't know, I don't remember what you said, widen or make the shoulders a little bit bigger on some of I don't remember. Did you say that at all? Or is this in my head?
There had been a question, I believe, at one of the meetings about striping, and I remember making a comment. Hard to do striping, whether it be just people are asking about white lines on the side, and with the width of our pavement, the that we've been paving them is 10-foot lanes. To do that, it would really narrow it up, and I think it would traffic negatively that way. The width that we're paving roads now, if it was something we wanted to address in the future, that we pave roads wider, because the state does that. They pave I think at least a foot wider on each lane, couple feet wider. But that adds significant when you figure miles of road, really adds up the total cost.
And the lines is out of our hands, correct? That state guidelines.
Yes, you can't decide how you want to. It has to meet the state standard. If you're going to do anything, you have to meet whatever their standard is.
Okay. Any others by anyone?
Yes. It is possible to line these roads, correct?
Yes, you could do it. There's no rule that says you can't.
Okay. Because I noticed that all the way around Rowan Island, that road is all lined all the way around, both white lines on the outsides and the yellow line dividing, showing where you can pass and where you can't, so on.
That's a state road, isn't it, Jay?
Yes, it is. The DOT maintains that whole piece of road.
So they do it wider, which makes it easier as well, correct?
They don't really on Verona. They're pretty narrow all the way around, and it does affect. I mean, if people are paying attention to the white line, sometimes they're over the yellow line when you're meeting traffic, and I see it all the time.
But
And-
if the town wanted to consider striping, you wouldn't have to do white on the edge. You could do yellow in the middle, but that has to just follow state guide. What I've heard for concerns relate to people who don't know where the middle is, and in bad weather or in the dark or that kind of thing. So even if it wasn't possible to do white, yellow, white, it would be possible if we followed state guidelines to do yellow, right? I mean, is that, we don't have to
Yes,
do both or all or nothing. We could do one without the
yeah,
other if the
yeah. The as far as I can remember, the rule is you can't do just a stripe on the side. You have to have a center line stripe if you're going to do the white lines that are on the edges. You can do just the center line. That is legal.
But are we required to have a state survey to do that?
I believe we are, because they recommend, I believe they are the ones that determine where it's safe for passing it and not, and yes, get the state involved in that.
So just to use a real example, the only road that I've ever heard that about, that complaint, or that people don't know where the middle is, because Broadway's a little bit wider. So if we decided that we wanted a yellow line down the middle of Broadway, I want to make sure that I'm understanding this. We would have to have survey that.
I believe so.
Okay.
I can look into that, but
Okay.
I think that they definitely need to be involved in deciding where you can pass and where you can't. But potentially they might not have to do anything if we were only going to have just a double line down the whole section of road, because you wouldn't want passing downtown for any reason.
Right. Yep. Okay. If you could, Jay, that would probably help, because I know that they would. It's at least worth looking at for sure.
And Jay, you said that if we did that, we'd have to do that again every year, correct?
I'm sorry, I missed some of the
Okay. Didn't you say when we met the last time we talked about this, that if we did, you'd have to do it every year? We'd have to restripe everywhere every year?
I believe yes. I don't believe that the product is going to last and be any good if you went. I mean, you might get away with 2 years, but I'm not sure if that is a state requirement that it needs to be done every single year. But I mean, it's obvious. You can see how they wear and fade from traffic and plows and stuff. Wears the stripes away.
The one citizen that I have seen come in front of us about this, actually in front of the council that was seated at the time, came from out my way, and her concern was that at night she could not see the edges of the road. That was what she originally asked about the painting about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds right to me too.
Would markers help that situation at all? I think I'm using the right word, the little rectangle reflector that you sometimes see on roads.
Potential. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's like a long term.
I looked it up through the state DOT, and they were quite specific about what you can and cannot do on the edge of the road. That information is available if you look it up.
Mm-hmm.
The reflectors, I just kind of answered the question that the plow would take, 10 seconds to take care of those.
They wouldn't be there in the wintertime. They'd disappear.
Any other questions, concerns?
Nope.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Favor.
Yep.
Your next invitation